Nicolás Maduro served as Venezuela's president, but his time in power was widely defined by serious human rights violations, including extrajudicial killings, as well as allegations of torture and sexual violence. As a result of these accusations, the International Criminal Court, ICC, opened a formal investigation in 2021, examining claims that crimes against humanity were committed under his leadership. At the same time, his presidency unfolded alongside Venezuela's devastating economic collapse, marked by runaway hyperinflation, extreme shortages of food and medicine, and the forced displacement of more than 7.7 million Venezuelans, making it the largest peacetime migration crisis in modern history. Following the highly disputed 2024 presidential election, Maduro's administration launched Operation Tun-Tun, a nationwide campaign involving door-to-door raids and arrests aimed at silencing protesters and opposition members. According to U.S. authorities, Maduro was the leader of the so-called Cartel of the Suns, an alleged drug trafficking network that worked in coordination with the FARC to transport massive quantities of cocaine into the United States. These allegations culminated on January 3, 2026, when the United States carried out a large-scale military operation known as Operation Absolute Resolve, which resulted in the capture of Nicolás Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores, in Caracas. Both were transferred to the United States, where Maduro was formally charged in the Southern District of New York with narco-terrorism conspiracy, conspiracy to import cocaine, and possession of machine guns and other destructive weapons. As of now, Maduro is being held at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, while legal proceedings are ongoing. Who is Nicolás Maduro? This is his story. Nicolás Maduro Moros was born on November 23, 1962, in Caracas, Venezuela, into a politically active working-class family. His father, Nicolás Maduro Garcia, 1927 to 1989, was a well-known trade union leader and leftist political activist whose influence deeply shaped Maduro's worldview. Maduro Garcia died in a car accident in April 1989. His mother, Teresa de Jesus Moros, was born in Cúcuta, Colombia, a border city between Colombia and Venezuela. Maduro was the only male among 4 siblings, growing up alongside his 3 sisters, María Teresa Maduro, Josefina Maduro, and Anita Maduro. Maduro spent his childhood in Los Jardines, a working-class neighborhood in the El Valle district on the outskirts of Caracas. He attended José Ábalos High School, Liceo José Ábalos, a public secondary school in El Valle, where he became known for his political engagement and served as president of the student union. Despite his visibility as a student leader, official school records indicate that he did not graduate from high school, nor did he pursue university education. Instead, his formative years were shaped more by activism and labor organizing than by traditional academic training. As a young man, Maduro was briefly drawn to rock music and even considered becoming a musician. He was also reportedly offered a professional baseball contract, which he declined in order to pursue political activism. Strongly influenced by his father's leftist ideology, he joined the Socialist League and later sought political and ideological training abroad. In 1986, at the age of 24, he traveled to Havana, Cuba, where he completed a 1-year intensive course in political and ideological training at the Escuela Nacional de Cuadros Julio Antonio Mella, a school operated by the Union of Young Communists. There, he received instruction in Marxist theory, labor organization, and revolutionary politics. Upon returning to Venezuela, Maduro entered the workforce as a bus and metro driver for the Caracas metro system, Metro de Caracas. During this period, he became increasingly involved in labor activism, rising to prominence as a trade union leader. In 1991, he founded the Caracas Metro Workers Union, Citrameca, positioning himself as a key representative of transport workers. Earlier, in 1983, he had briefly worked as a bodyguard for José Vicente Rangel during Rangel's unsuccessful presidential campaign. Maduro's transition from labor activism to formal politics began in the early 1990s when he joined the civilian wing of Hugo Chávez's MBR 200 movement. After Chávez's failed coup attempt in 1992, Maduro became actively involved in campaigning for Chávez's release from prison. He later helped establish the Fifth Republic movement, MVR, which successfully propelled Chávez to the presidency in 1998. In 1999, Maduro was elected to Venezuela's Constituent Assembly, where he participated in drafting the country's new constitution. He was subsequently elected as a deputy to the National Assembly in 2000, representing the Capital District, a role he held until 2006. His rise continued when he served as president of the National Assembly from 2005 to 2006, marking his transition into the executive branch. In 2006, President Hugo Chávez appointed Maduro as Minister of Foreign Affairs, a position he would hold for nearly 7 years. As foreign minister, Maduro played a central role in strengthening Venezuela's diplomatic relationships with countries such as Russia, China, Iran, and Cuba, aligning the nation firmly within an anti-U.S. geopolitical bloc. In October 2012, Chávez appointed Maduro as vice president, and 2 months later publicly named him as his preferred successor should he succumb to cancer. Following Hugo Chávez's death on March 5, 2013, Maduro assumed the role of interim president and later won a special election in April 2013. He was re-elected in 2018 in a vote widely criticized as fraudulent and again claimed victory in the highly disputed 2024 election, despite opposition evidence showing a decisive win by Edmundo González. His presidency, spanning 2013 to 2026, was marked by severe political repression, economic collapse, and growing international isolation. Maduro's personal life includes 2 marriages. His first wife, Adriana Guerra Angulo, is the mother of his only biological child, Nicolás Ernesto Maduro Guerra, known as Nicolásito, born in 1990. Maduro later formed a long-term relationship with Cilia Flores, a lawyer and senior political figure often referred to as the first combatant. They met in the 1990s while campaigning for Chávez's release and officially married in July 2013, shortly after Maduro assumed the presidency. Maduro also became stepfather to Flores's 3 sons, Walter Jacob, Yoser, and Yoswal, from her previous marriage to Walter Ramon Gaviria Rodriguez, and the couple adopted Efraim Antonio Campo Flores, Flores's nephew, after his mother passed away. By January 3, 2026, Maduro's rule came to an abrupt end. On that date, the United States launched a large-scale military operation known as Operation Absolute Resolve, resulting in the capture of Nicolás Maduro and Cilia Flores in Caracas. Both were extracted to the United States, where Maduro was charged in the Southern District of New York with narco-terrorism conspiracy, cocaine importation conspiracy, and possession of machine guns and destructive devices. U.S. authorities allege that he led the so-called Cartel of the Suns, collaborating with the FARC to flood the U.S. with cocaine. As of January 2026, Maduro is detained at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, with court proceedings underway. Maduro's tenure has been further overshadowed by investigations into crimes against humanity, including an ongoing International Criminal Court (ICC) investigation launched in 2021 into allegations of torture, sexual violence, and extrajudicial killings. Following the disputed 2024 election, his government initiated Operation Toon Toon, a campaign of door-to-door arrests targeting protesters and opposition figures. His presidency also coincided with Venezuela's catastrophic economic collapse, hyperinflation, severe shortages of food and medicine, and the mass migration of more than 7.7 million Venezuelans, the largest peacetime exodus in modern history. Maduro's financial standing has long been a subject of controversy. While public estimates place his net worth between $2 million and $5 million, critics allege far greater hidden wealth. Following his capture, the U.S. government announced the seizure of approximately $700 million in assets, including luxury properties in Florida, the $18 million Villa La Caracola in the Dominican Republic, a horse farm, multiple private jets, including a $13 million Dassault Falcon 900EX, at least 9 luxury vehicles, and large sums of cash and jewelry. U.S. officials have described these holdings as proceeds of an organized criminal enterprise funded by corruption and drug trafficking. As of January 2026, Nicolás Maduro remains in U.S. federal custody, awaiting trial on narco-terrorism charges. His political legacy is defined by authoritarian rule, international criminal indictments, economic devastation, and one of the most dramatic falls from power in contemporary Latin American history.